I'm Dr. Bart Rademaker, and this is the Doctor's Guide podcast. And once again, bringing to you the insights and the action steps that you're going to want to take in whatever part of your life that you feel is relevant as you listen to us today. Because here's one thing that I know. We are inundated with so much information. And as my good friend Chad has educated me on this, the content and the context, there's such a disconnect in that. And so part of what I hope to achieve today with you is, as I introduce these amazing human beings on this show, is how can we navigate this overwhelming amount of information as to what it is that we can do to optimize our health. And so there's so many podcasts out there, and they're talking about their products and all this. And sometimes that's also way too much information, because how do you even sort of validate the value of any of that in reference to your own particular situation? And so that's why we created this show. It's the doctor's guide, guiding you through that process of making the decision that's going to be optimum for you, because ultimately you're the one that has to be accountable and responsible for your own life. I know that's hard for some of you, but it is the only path forward. And it's about getting the right information as well. So for today, what we're going to do, we're going to do some role playing. And the way we're going to do this, it's about 6 minutes long, and both participants will play a certain role, one presenting a problem and the other guiding them to a resolution. And then we're actually going to talk about it for you and leave you with a specific insight and action step that might be very relevant for you. And that is my hope for you today. So for today, I want to introduce to you my best friend of all time. He's had such an influence in my personal life, as well as my family, Mr. Chad Cooper. So tell us a little bit about you.
Yeah, I'm just offended you missed the E. I mean, come on, the Eaton in there.
Here we go.
You expected it, so I'm bringing it, right? So you and I have collaborated globally. Quite frankly, we have done adventures around the world, done things to be of selfish service to ourselves as a responsibility for our mental health and aspirations, as well as selfless, and that is raising the energy, raising the possibility around the world through providing abilities, teaching others how to fish. And essentially that really just kind of sums up of what is my purpose and journey through the world today, is how can I pour into others and also be responsible to myself in the process, right? One of the things that has stayed in the back of my mind, or front of my mind, Bart, is God did not ask me to be poor, and it's a whole lot easier to serve others when I am abundant than I am in survival. So that's really kind of my approach, but that requires me to take responsibility to take care of myself so that I can then be available to serve others. That sums up what I do.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Chad. And now the wonderful Joy that I've met for the first time today. Please introduce you and your magic, and then we'll go right into the role play.
Oh, thank you so much, Bart, for this wonderful, incredible opportunity. It's really amazing to see the work that you're doing out there, which is so needed. And your approach is definitely very revolutionary. And I'm really glad to be part of this. So my name is Joy Ogeh-Hufield, and I'm a transformation coach. So I work with individuals, I work with businesses on how to really live life with purpose, joy and fulfillment. So that's really the basic of it, because I think in our world today, many people definitely are searching. They want to serve, they want to do right, but it's understanding that for us to be able to help other people, we also need to understand, what is it and why is it that we exist, and understand those real core fundamentals, and how we can really be of better service to other people. And I believe that starts with us discovering our own purpose, why we exist, and what we exist to do in order to serve better. So that's where I'm at.
Oh, wow. I love it. And then later on, you both will share how people can reach you. But let's dive into this role playing. And so my first question to Chad what role are you playing? And actually, I should ask Joy first, because I think she's going to go first, right? So Joy,
Ladies first, please. And she is
what
definitely a
role are
lady.
you playing? And then we'll go with Chad.
Well, I'm playing the role of a very high profile executive who has really reached, that pinnacle of a career, and just suddenly wakes up one day and just totally lost it, overwhelmed, anxious,
Great.
the thought
All
of
right.
work. Yes, so that's where I'm at. Yeah.
Chad, what's your role?
Well, we're going to keep it clean. So I am going to play the role of listening with empathy and compassion to see if I can help. If I'm hearing Joy correctly, is she's a power player. She has built an empire and is asking herself, where do I go from here? I don't want to destroy my empire. I don't want to give it away, but I'm miserable. Is that accurate, Joy? Okay, so I'm going to play the role of listener and then maybe help provide some paths that she can choose to pursue. And with that, I just want to go back to the very beginning, Bart, that you'd said it's the only way forward in terms of it's the only healthy way forward, right? So Joy, you're going to have multiple choices. Right now, you're probably in a dilemma, one or the other. And that's an illusion. So let's see if we can actually open up some doorways for you to choose if you want to walk through any of them.
Great. And I love the pre-frame, by the way, because that actually puts it in the proper context where I think a lot of people are struggling. So that's brilliant. So as always, Chad, you got it. All right, go.
Okay, so
what's your problem, lady?
Oh, I tell you. Now, I always thought that I had everything together. I would like to feel that I am successful because I am. I've built an incredible empire. I'm the one that's always, helping other people, telling them they can. And I woke up one morning and I just literally just couldn't get out of bed. I could not get out of bed. And then I just started out of nowhere. I started to cry. I just sobbed and sobbed and sobbed, and I just couldn't stop. And I thought, yes, okay, I'm feeling a bit miserable. I'm feeling a bit sad. It will pass. And so I decided to take the day off. The following day, it was worse. This time, I just had all sorts of horrible thoughts. I started feeling a little bit suicidal. And I just didn't want any of it. I just wanted out. And
do you get angry as well?
Well, I want to. Yes, I was angry at myself for feeling this way. I'm a strong woman, for crying out loud. So I thought, well, this is weakness. I mean, I train people. I work with extraordinary people. I'm the one people come to. So why should I be so weak? And I just couldn't really help myself in how I'm feeling. But I just didn't want to live. I felt, or I feel, I feel a failure. I feel I just haven't achieved. And so, my husband said, okay, why don't you go see the doctor? And I thought, well, actually, that's the sensible thing to do. Good idea. So I went to doctor. I told them, and I said, this is how I'm feeling. It's getting worse, this feeling of not wanting to be here, of feeling a failure, that I haven't achieved what I wanted to achieve. And they listened to me. And the next thing, they were wanting to offer me, and they said, well, do you feel depressed? Well, I said, well, I do feel depressed. And so, the options really were that, would I consider going on antidepressants? I mean, I'd heard about that, and I know that it's kind of worked in some cases, and I thought, well, no, I don't know. Do I want to depend on a drug? I want to heal. I mean, there's something, right, causing this for me to feel this way. And I want to get to the root of it. I don't know when I want to mask it, but on the other hand, I want to get better quick. I mean, and if this drugs or whatever they call it is going to make me do that, then it means I can get back to my life quicker. Well, that's what I'm thinking. but I'm just in a state of confusion. And yeah.
So if I'm hearing you correctly, Joy, is you're really good at slaying dragons, and you've gotten to the point where you're like, look, I'm capable, I'm a master at slaying dragons, but the question is why in the hell am I doing this? I mean, yeah, I can do that well, and there's a part of it that is fulfilling, but there's a part of you that's actually saying it doesn't really matter, and there's a void, there's an emptiness that is calling to me to answer. Is that where you're at?
That's right. That's right.
Okay.
And I feel tired, and I'm thinking, what's the point?
Yeah.
What is
So the challenge that I often see is, one is the willingness to navigate what becomes a labyrinth of options. And we need to first realize you're probably already saturated. You're already at capacity. It's like taking a glass that's already full and pouring more into it. It's like,
right.
oh, well, here, let me throw more crap at you. And you're like, I can't absorb anymore.
That's right.
Nor am, if I'm in apathy or depression, I'm not listening. I just want to escape. I just want relief.
Yes. Yes.
Then we can wake up some days, and anger is actually a healthier energy, because at least anger is a catalyst to get me to do something. But now I'm jaded and I'm pissed off, and that's coming out like a tea kettle going off, right? And it can make a mess. So I'm going to say there's really kind of 5 things that are available to you. And the first question is where you are in terms of your capacity to be in a place of, is what's going on something that is an explanation, or is it an excuse? In other words, is your past, is the environment, or the people that are causing this, or everything that's going on, an excuse for you to compromise your values, your character, right? It's a crutch. Or is it an explanation of, I'm at my limits, and something's got to change?
Yeah. I think you're spot on. I think I'm at that stage where perhaps I'm even thinking, what about me? What about me?
So let's look at that, because there's 5 things that we want to take a look at, and in that is, okay, I have a choice. Do I get on a pharmaceutical, or do I consider this new field that's opening called microdosing? And what's that all about? Is this helpful, or I've heard some things that it makes you dependent. It's the quick fix. It's hurting. There's a secondary agenda. So in this path is it okay for me to be selfish when society tells you that that's wrong? And is that voice of society lying to us or serving us? Am I looking for the path that's cheating therapy, right? Just give me the pill, versus, okay, I'm willing to do the work. So I want to offer 5 things. One is, are we looking for symptoms or root diagnosis? And understand, in that labyrinth, there's profit, okay? There's profit in symptoms. There's also a field of medicine that has great intentions, Joy, but may not have the discernment or experience that while they think they're actually serving serving symptoms versus root diagnosis. So the first thing we need to address that's your responsibility is trust that people.
We have 1 minute left.
Okay. Trust that people have good intentions, but may not have great judgment. Okay. So the first question is to ask yourself, are we looking at mental health or mental illness? And we'll talk about what that is. The second is, are you looking for the quick fix, or are you willing to be part of the solution and do the work? Third is there a physical impairment or psychological laziness? Is there a fear or danger that you're looking at? And then lastly is, who's preventing? Are you preventing, or is the system preventing you from real solutions?
That's fantastic. That's really helpful. Really helpful. And I believe I know exactly the option I will be going for. So thank you so much for that.
Excellent, both of you. So first, Joy, what was that for you? And then we'll go to Chad.
That was brilliant, because for me, in terms of where I was at and that whole confusion, that whole overwhelm, what Chad really managed to do was to kind of not criticize, not judge, but just open up the various possibilities of what could be. And by doing that, allowed me to be the master of my own destiny, because at the end of the day, it should be about me, regardless of what the other options are. So for me, that gave me a great sense of reassurance that somebody understood where I was coming from. He also managed to untangle that confusion in terms of, what the drugs, because I didn't even know what the drugs are, psychedelics, and so he really reframed that and kind of opened that world to say, well, actually, do you want to deal with the root of it? Do you want a quick fix? Because whatever decisions do you make, obviously you've got to take responsibility, because they all come with their own various consequences as well. So for me, that was really a brilliant way of just opening me up, but whilst giving me the confidence and the empowerment to make the decision moving forward.
Yeah, and we're going to talk a little bit more about that as well. I mean, the quick fix versus, doing what you need to do. Chad, what was that for you?
For me, it's when I see someone coming to me, it's important for me to first determine, are they just looking to vent? What is it that they need from me? Do they just want space to vent, to get it out? Or are they actually asking for me to participate in helping them navigate to a solution? And so there's two things that I'm listening for in Joy. One is she looking to take responsibility to be a participant in the journey and the solution, or is she playing the role of victim? The second is then, is she willing to participate in the process, or is she looking for me to provide the silver bullet or the quick fix, right? So for me, Bart, is I can listen and provide empathy and compassion, but I also have a responsibility to understand, what is this person asking, and can I serve them? Or am I actually, here's the reality, am I wasting my time in offering solutions when they don't actually want that at all? So I'm actually having to figure out, while I'm creating that space, what role am I actually being asked to play? Because if I'm assuming my role is to solve, as most men do, right? Little genetic challenge. I'm not serving them nor myself. So I'm actually trying to figure out where I fit into this to be able to understand, how do I help them while helping myself? So I'm just trying to understand, what's the game that we're playing here? What's the conversation you're really asking for, so that I know how to participate.
So yeah, you both addressed so many things. I mean, I think we can actually make this a full hour, by the way, and not even cover, a fraction of what's going on. But I mean, ultimately, kind of summarizing some of the elements that I think, people should know is, number one, it's going to be overwhelming. And that part of the overwhelm is also in you. And as you also eloquently shared with us in the beginning, Joy, is, what's your purpose, right? And when you've lost the purpose, I think, as Chad was alluding to, then that's when things go south. And so, when now is it about me? And then all your values and beliefs kind of get mixed in that. And now it's like, okay, what next? I think ultimately, what Chad did was brilliant, and just, simplifying that. And I can't tell you how many times he's, enlightened me on simplicity. I love simplicity, but sometimes I get very complex, but things are too complicated. And then by his approach to simply put it together. But the part that makes all the difference is the ability of that person choosing to be the guide, is to actually listen. And I think that is so absent nowadays. And then people are in overwhelm, and they don't know what to do. So what's the best choice for them in reality is I'm sorry, the quick fix, right? But that's not the healthy way.
No, and it's, when we're looking at symptom versus root, symptoms versus root. The system today is actually designed in a very specific way that may not actually be designed to serve you, right? There's an illusion there. And I think the most important piece that we have as a challenge today, and COVID really brought about this like making the voice really loud, is I'm not happy. And being okay to voice, and social media makes it incredibly difficult to make it acceptable to say, I'm voicing that I'm okay not being okay, right? It's like, oh, let's project all of these great, positive, and affirming emotions, but all of these dark emotions, bury that shit down, and I'm not allowed to express them because that makes me, feel shame and apathy. And it's like, I wake up certain days so I can appreciate where Joy's at and saying, Joy, allow yourself to wake up and say, I think I'm going to be an asshole today. No, I'm positive I'm going to be an asshole today. Okay. Be okay with not being okay. Because here's the thing, when we hold on to that and we're like, I can't express it, it just does this. When we allow it to happen, it dissolves and dissipates. However, we have a responsibility to those around us in our environment to say, leave me alone. I need some space. I'm not okay. So don't poke the bear, right? So we can take a stand for ourselves, but we still have a responsibility to others to let them know where we're at. And so that's more of an ego self-directed versus an ego plus other oriented approach. I can address my needs while I tell other people, here's where I'm at. And that's more of it's all about me today versus survival of myself and others. So with that, lastly, I just want to point out is what we're trying to first ascertain with Joy in that scenario is mental health or mental illness. We all struggle with mental health issues from time to time. Mental illness is a chemical issue of no matter how hard you try, you're not going to generate some of the chemicals you need, and you might need to ask for some support or a helping hand, right? No matter how hard I try, if I want to go from one side of the country to the other, walking is going to take a long time and not efficient. I might want to ask for a vehicle that helps me get there effectively.
And what's that vehicle for you, Joy?
Well, for me, that would be really understanding. So I probably more on not so much but the root of it. I think I would want to get to the root of that, because as much as I'm feeling the way that I'm feeling, I know that something has triggered it. So rather than opt out for the quick fix, I would rather do the work so that I recognize when it comes again, if it does at all, or the patterns, or break the cycle of what's happening. So that would enable me to have more control of what I'm going through, and create the right solutions and the right strategies that work for me.
It's really fascinating for me to kind of think, 25,000 years ago, and this fellow by the name of Hippocrates already ascertained so many truisms in our health, and like food is thy medicine and medicine is thy food. And so many other truisms he spoke of. But today we seem to have forgotten all those. And I don't know if it's because of how technology has advanced so quickly. We're so overwhelmed with all the noise and the distractions. We just want the quick fix. And now we're just treating with symptoms. And I can go into the politics of that, but we're not going to do that today. But the truth is that the real answers are in the root cause. And I think you both establish it really well. And one phrase that I've come up myself is that there's no longer an excuse to be sick. And that might upset some people out there. But the truth is that in the last couple of years, we have so much information that's accessible to everyone. A lot of the stuff is also affordable. You just have to reach out and ask for help.
Right.
If I can add to what you and Joy just said in there, is I'm asking questions and I'm listening. And what I'm listening for with Joy is she asking for symptoms, quick relief? give me the Tylenol, right? I need to numb myself out. Or is she looking for root and I want to resolve and absolve what's going on? And what I heard her say is she has, and if I may, Joy, I'm making an assumption that I'm looking to confirm, is Joy has defined her self-worth, her self-esteem based on her environment, based on her material attainment. And what we're looking for in that is she looking for the quick fix? Because the challenge I see when we have mental health versus mental illness, in the mental health field, I find, as old Hippocrates there said, Hippocrates, right? He really spoke to our mental health in saying, brothers, sisters, you need to be willing to stop listening to the outside world that define yourself, and you actually need to listen inside. You need to listen to that voice inside if you want to find the answers that you're seeking. And we've done such a marvelous job of listening to everything outside of ourselves that we've actually tuned out our inside voice, and we're completely unaware of the signals and the signs today that our body is telling us.
Yep.
Pay attention, and we're like, shut up, shut up.
That's
I'm
right.
going to listen to that marketing that's going to tell me all I need is this pill. All I need is this guru. All I need. And the problem with that is it's attached to something. If you want the truth just for the small dollar of, or just for your health insurance of, truth does not charge. It is available to everyone, but it begins in, it is screaming inside of us. And that's where the journey begins. We have to be willing to tune into our inside voice once again, because it is there. If that inside voice is demeaning, is shaming, is guilting you, that is not your highest self. That is your ego or society. Truth does not shame, demean, diminish. So if you hear that voice, my first thing to Joy is, who are you listening to?
Yeah.
Now, it used to be we'd pick up the phone. You didn't have caller ID. How did you recognize who was on the other end? Oh, that's mom's voice. Oh, that's my doctor's voice. Oh, that's Joy's voice. We learn to hear on the tempo, the pitch, who's there. We have not figured out those inside voices that are doing this with us. Who's speaking to us? So it begins, if it's mental health, to listen to who's feeding and nourishing or deteriorating our side. So your struggle begins with, you can't recognize the voice that's talking to you. Is that ego, or is that your spirit, your soul?
And one thing, and I'm going to let Joy jump in there, but in response to that, another quote I thought was great. You know, if you treated other people like you treat yourself, you'd have no friends. And how true is that? So Joy, we're going to wrap it up soon. So any feedback or response to what Chad
just adding to what Chad was saying, and you could have shared a little bit of that as well. And I think part of it also is not taking the time to invest in oneself and develop you. And that's where I believe that root cause is, because we know others. I mean, we're also very proud of it. Oh, I know my partner more than I know me. I know so and so. We're proud of that because we think it's a badge of honor. But if you don't know you, if you don't know who you are, what you're about, what is it that makes you, those are the things that we don't spend enough time with ourselves, investing in us. So when we talk about those mental health issues, they come out of really a kind of a disconnection from the inner you, from who you really are. And because you're looking at the answers outside of you, whereas, like Chad said, the answers lies within. So that's what I just wanted to add to the conversation.
And how do people find you, Joy?
Oh, right. Yes. They can come to the UK. No, not really. So yeah, they can go to, joytransformationcoach.co.uk. So, or .com.
Excellent. And
or link it. Yes.
I know we can be talking about all this for so much longer, but one thing that I would say, and Chad also has a book, reach out to Joy if you want to continue this kind of conversations. I know that we'll have Joy back in the future. So super excited because there's so much that we need to unpack with all of this. And even the Greek philosophers on the Temple of Delphi, on top of that doorway, it says, know thyself. Chad, you want to wrap it up for us?
Yeah, I think this is a phrase that is been introduced recently, and all of us know this, and that is the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those that cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and then relearn. So if you noticed in this conversation, I didn't give any guidance of, the psychedelics, microdosing, or pharma, here's your answer. What we wanted to offer was, here's the fishing pole. We want to teach you to learn how to fish rather than providing you the fish. Okay. And he spoke to truth, and that is, enslavement by illusion is comfortable, but it's the liberation by truth that people fear. So what we want to offer is, there is a way forward. And as you've brilliantly articulated, Bart, simple is harder than complex, but once you get there, you can go in any direction. And that's really what our purpose is to help take the complex and make it simple, help you with those voices going on inside of your head, and let you tune into the ones that are affirming you and lifting you up. And that is why all of you are in my life, because you help me when I need, those times of struggle and mental health challenges. If somebody pretends that they don't have it, trust me, everyone does.
And how do people find you, Chad?
So you can just find me at chadecooper.com. As I said in the pre, is I'm dressed deliberately this way because I don't want to come off as the people that are here to serve you are dressed in a suit and tie or dressed in an orange pajamas kind of thing. I'm not trying to pick on the Buddhist monks out there. That was humorous, but it's, don't put on this lofty image. Listen what's underneath to see the people that are really put in your life to serve you or mislead you. And they don't have to be dressed to, opulence. So go to chadecooper.com. If there's something I can do to support and pour into you to help you on your journey, then great, reach out.
One of the two beautiful things that we can discover for ourselves in our lives is our own personal growth. That's our transformation, that's our purpose, but also contribution. And that's one thing that I know Chad is very passionate about. He has his own foundation, the Chad E. Cooper Foundation, but just go to his website. He does tremendous work in Guatemala, all over the world, not going to Africa, gone to New Zealand. And so, there's so many things that we can do for ourselves and others at the same time. So I really appreciate both of you. As Einstein said, let's make things as simple as possible, but not simpler. All those voices outside of us that are telling us what to do or not to do. I mean, they're doing that for a purpose. They have their own agendas, but certainly not necessarily in alignment with yours. And so you have to be, the guard at the door of your brain to then determine and take responsibility for what next steps are. And so that's the whole purpose of this podcast. It's not to give you the specific solution as Chad eloquently shared with us, but really to share with you the process, how to navigate this, and then ultimately also have the discernment as to what those believable voices are. And as Chad also mentioned, we are believable forces or voices for him. And certainly one thing that I found very transformational, and here's a person that, trained for 17 years. I speak 4 languages, grew up in 5 different countries, been in the medical field for almost 40 years, thinking, well, hang on a second, I should know everything, and then recognizing how much I didn't know. And that's the path of one of our old philosophers, Socrates. And so finding a coach like Joy, like Chad, is so important, and I'm blessed by being able to talk to them on a regular basis, and so should you be, to get the kind of life that you want. And again, that's the purpose for our podcast. So once
See,
again,
that's why you're in my life. I struggle with speaking one language, and I don't even do that well. So thank you.
But you master so many other things. And that's actually true for all of us. You know, we have to give ourselves permission that we have our faults and our weaknesses, but we also have our unique heroic identity as well. So once again,
So now that I've hijacked your signing off, please finish.
no, it's fine. So it's all about having fun, right? So I actually, you know what? I'll deviate from my normal practice. You got the last word, Chad.
This actually says humble warrior, which is just a yoga move. So if you're thinking I'm narcissistic, yes, but it's not because of the shirt. So go out and serve others and don't be the narcissistic person.
Yeah, I
How's
love you
that?
guys. I love you guys. Thank you. And we'll be back.